What's going on, YouTube land?
Good
Live
day,
on
loves.
Instagram.
Hey, Instagram.
There's
And
Facebook.
welcome to this moment, Facebook.
Awesome. All three casts are on and popping. Oh, I got a notification for our lives on both other platforms on my phone.
Nice. Speaking of which, if you are enjoying these episodes, be sure to hit the notifications so that you turn those on. On YouTube, there's the bell. And I know for Instagram, it'll ask you after the live ends, at least, whether or not you want to be notified. Similar thing for Facebook, I think.
Yep. Also, share this out. Subscribe, like, and follow.
Subscribe,
like, and follow.
So much.
It tells us that the content is good. It tells the algorithm that more people need to see it. And it tells the algorithm that you want to see more of it.
Yes.
So thank you so much. Also, thank you to the anonymous great person that suggested that we play a little background music. Hopefully you all can hear it. And if you can't hear it, just let us know. If you can't hear us for any reason, just let us know.
Yeah.
And we're going to go ahead and do the episode with this background music this time, and it'll be our test.
Yeah.
Because it's a live show, so sometimes we need to just test things on the fly. I'm pretty sure you'll be able to hear my voice whole time. So if you want to be specific and say, well, I hear Soul, but I don't hear Tensi, or I only hear Tensi when she's excited or something like that, then just let us know everything. Put stuff in the comments.
One thing that we're going to be a little mindful of is, hopefully this music is not copywritten or anything like that, because then that would result in some muting.
Yeah, you're right about that.
We are modifying the music.
Yep.
This is our
on the flizzy.
Let me
because I thought I had the meditation music stuff that was created.
That's okay.
I don't. Okay, so we'll have to test music on a different, or I can. Yeah, we'll have to test music on a different day. So
okay,
that the person that suggested it, if you're watching, we'll have to test that on a different day, because especially Instagram and Facebook, they will mute your video, meaning you won't be able to hear our words, but you'll be able to see us talking into the screen. If you play a whole lot of copywritten sounds in the background, so
I may have to stand up for this one, potentially. So just in case, I'm just gonna go ahead and get up. I know that the topic of today is the grocery store guide, how to choose the healthiest options. Let me bring this up a little bit. Okay, so choosing the healthiest options. Are we good over there? YouTube, the video. I can't see it. Okay, cool. All right. So first things first, when we're on this path of eating healthy, today's Wednesday. Welcome to Fuel Day. It's all about nutrition. It's all about fueling yourself with healthy or nourishing content, stuff that will help you along your path.
Like our podcast.
With holistic health. So, yes, today we're talking about what we do when we're in the grocery store, right? How do we pick the healthiest options? And this is something that, there's levels to it, right? There's levels to healthy. And there's some things that are pretty non-negotiable if you're considering, if you're trying to be anti-inflammatory. But there's also some flexibility in this. And so with the flexibility, one thing that I would say from my perspective, and you can add in from your perspective, is that especially if you're trying to get right back on course, seeking out a healthy swap for things that you find that you can't really live without right now is going to be super helpful for you. And that's going to take reading the ingredient label. So healthy swaps for the stuff that you're like for me, it was pancakes. It was, stuff that growing up, I could not eat, and just making a healthy shift would have been too big to just throw it all out altogether. So come from the perspective of healthy swaps that you can do with
Absolutely.
healthier ingredient options in them. Another option would be to just make sure that you're very much so limiting it. So when you're in the grocery store, don't get the stuff that has the inflammatory ingredients like the ones that we're going to cover. But when you're in the restaurant or something, there might be some more wiggle room because you really don't know what's in it, right? So those sorts of things.
So it's just in general very important to make healthy choices. You can make healthy choices in regards to food, in regards to beverage, and in regards to snacks. You can also make healthy choices in regards to your thoughts, emotions, and actions in general. But making healthy choices when you're in the grocery store pretty much boils down to knowing the reality of what you are aiming to consume.
Yes.
The reality is spelled out for you on the ingredients list. You need, I would suggest, if you are on the path, then you need to. And if you're not on the path, but thinking about being on the path, then I would suggest to you that you start reading the ingredients list and start looking up ingredients you do not know and do not understand what the word is. You do not have to be able to pronounce the ingredient to look it up via the computer in your pocket, aka your phone, the computer in your car, aka your phone or tablet, or the computer at home.
Just type it in and then type in the phrase side
effects or benefits. And know that, if you only look up benefits and you don't look up the other side, you might be getting a slightly skewed perception given to you by the companies that want to keep you sick and want to keep you in the hospital because they work together with the medical industry and big pharma and all of that. Now, our episode today is dealing with being in the grocery store, right? And when you're in the grocery store, you are not only buying food, but you're also planning the meals that you're going to have. And so we're going to talk about what those meals can look like in terms of portion size, and we're going to talk about what to do in the actual store itself. And before you even get to the store, you want to plan what you're going to shop for. You want to come up with the things that you wish were in your pantry, your refrigerator and cupboard, if you will, your cupboard. You want to plan what you want to see in there, and then when you get to the store, then you want to implement some specific behaviors.
So, and we can come into this in more deeply in another episode. Let us know if you're interested in a deeper dive. But before you even get to the grocery store, do a quick little sweep through of your kitchen. What do you already have so that we're making sure that we're not being wasteful with our resources and we're using the things that we already have. It doesn't go bad on us and we don't get that feeling of taking the salad mix from the fridge and putting it straight in the trash can unopened or the berries or whatever that we were really excited about starting to embark on and getting into our weekly meals. So do a quick sweep of your pantry, look through to see what are some staples that you already have that may be healthy. Start to look at some of the ingredient labels if you've never looked at them before, or if they change the branding on the front. So if it has a different cover on the front of the face of the package, then that might be an indication that the ingredient list has changed too. So if it says new and improved or new look, or it has a new look, just look at that box or look at that container again to see what's in it. Some things to look out for are just like what we covered in episode 3 with our first fuel episode, that first Wednesday, the inflammatory oils. So canola oil, vegetable oil, soybean oil, corn
safflower,
oil,
sunflower
oil,
corn,
oil, cottonseed oil, partially hydrogenized oils. If it's just butter and it's not like at least grass-fed butter, like all these different things are factors that will cause inflammation because they have these, either they're engineered specifically to mess up your cells, or otherwise they especially if it's like from an animal, then they could be injecting hormones or antibiotics, things that will mess with your own body
Mhm.
and your own hormonal balance. So just keeping those things in mind. The next thing to really look out for, and
Is
if you have anything with those inflammatory ingredients, see where it is in the ingredient label. If it's closer to the top or the beginning of the list of ingredients, that means that there's more of it in it. So if it's in there, if it's especially in the first 4 or 5 ingredients, you know that it's heavily loaded up with that, and it's just going to really throw you off. So toss those things out. I know you love them. Find a swap. We can help you find a swap.
absolutely.
Post
And
a
the
picture in the comments.
the next thing that you want to look out for is the behaviors that you're implementing in the shopping process. So first thing I want to point to is shopping around the perimeter, going through the produce aisle, looking at whole foods. If you are a meat eater, going through and reading and trying to find either online before you get there or in your favorite stores if you already know kind of what stores have what, the most high quality animal products that you can find, because the quality also very much is an important thing to keep in mind, as well as how heavily processed the protein sources are.
Yeah.
Um,
So that's your dairy, that's your meats, that's your fishes, that's your
mhm.
seafood,
Not waiting and
eggs.
sorry, and eggs
Mhm.
and eggs, yeah. Not waiting until you get home to read the labels.
Yeah.
Reading the
Yeah.
label right there in the aisle, or reading the label right there on the perimeter, or reading the label right there at the line, just to make sure, oh nope, need to go put this back and go swap this out for another version of it, for another brand I haven't tried yet, for something that can satisfy the desire for it but doesn't have these inflammatory and or harmfully, chemical ingredients.
Yes.
And then choose organic when you can. Okay, choose organic over non-organic. Organic over non-organic today means something a lot different than it did 20 years ago. Okay, organic today means less doctored by the the bad guys of the food industry. It's just a podcast, I'm just going to kind of talk like that. Less doctored up by the evil geniuses, the evil scientists of the food industry.
And
So yeah, choosing organic is very important. Go ahead.
the reason why organic is important, because this question has come up for me in the past and I didn't really know what to say. Now there have been scientific studies that are proving that the level of pesticide, what is making up pesticides, um, specifically, for example, there's obesogens that they put inside, and these are chemicals that tell your body, hey, instead of making a stem cell that can turn into anything like a magical magician or whatever in your body and help heal whatever, or instead of making a muscle cell, instead of making a cell to help with your digestive system or whatever's needing some support, instead of doing that, you're going to make a fat cell every time, no matter what you want to do.
That's what
That's
obesogens
what you
do.
gonna do, is
Hmm.
what an obesogen will tell your body. And this is the impact that these chemicals have on our bodies. It also has other chemical names and ingredients that will actively and specifically disrupt your hormones. And you know that your hormonal system affects all other systems in your body. So your how you detoxify, all the things are affected by your hormonal system. How you feel, how you think, whether you're craving these bad habits for you really heavy or not. It's all a cascading effect. So that's why we want to go organic, because these pesticides have chemicals like phthalates, and those, well, we can dive deeper into those in another episode, but it has chemical names that do have these side effects that are harmful for our bodies.
Yeah.
So limiting those. One other thing before we move forward to the next section that I need to stress in reading labels is when it comes to things like I already mentioned the ingredients, where it is placed in the ingredient label, whether it's near the beginning or near the end is important. Also look out for if it just says sugar, nothing else, that means table sugar. And if it says just sugar, nothing else, That is the ultra processed version of, and it's a pure acid from the sugarcane plant. And that is very inflammatory. Same thing with table salt. It's not, never says table salt, it just says salt. That's it. Instead, look for sea salt. If you see sea salt, you're okay. Your heart will not scream at you if it just says sea salt. It's not loaded up with all these other chemicals that amplify the level of sodium, so that's out of balance with the other minerals that are needed for your body to thrive. Okay? It's all about balance.
Right.
So,
and
other things, real
sorry.
quick, just to mention, real quick, in the ingredient label. So, if you see those in the beginning, put it back, especially if it's in the first 5 ingredients. If it's not at the tail end, please just put it back. Even if it's only 3 ingredients long, and you see one of these inflammatory oils or sugar, or salt, or any sort of chemical name, that you look it up and you see the side effects and you're like, that one really, it's banned in that country, probably don't want it. Put it back. Other thing with do you want to chime in on that before I move to this?
You just covered that, or what?
No. Okay.
No, yeah, go ahead.
So then, the next thing with the ingredient labels is when you look at the nutrition facts, look at the carbohydrates. You're gonna look for looking at the net carbohydrates. So net carbohydrates, hopefully it has fiber in it. If it doesn't have fiber in it, that's not necessarily a bad thing, but you want to really, really watch out for added sugars. If there's added sugars, try and keep them below. Ideally, they would be around like 7-10 grams. But above that, you're starting to kind of get into a wonky territory. So then you have to start looking at, per serving, your added sugars. If they're starting to exceed 10 grams, you need to find some balance in the rest of your meals throughout the day, so that you're not loading yourself up with glucose that's going to just turn into waste in your body that can't easily get swept out and regulated by your organs. So keeping that in mind. Sodium, added sugar, and when it comes to unhealthy fats, they have this conspiracy about saturated fats, like from coconut oil. But coconut oil is great for your brain. It's great for your body. And so
uncooked.
Don't believe that. Just, you got to look at the ingredient. What is the oil? What is the fat that they're using? They're the healthy fats that we talked about in episode 4. Go back to that episode. Really dive into understanding what is healthy when it comes to the fats, and go with that. Okay. That's all. That was a big piece, y'all. The ingredient label and the nutrition facts are huge. So at least look at the sugar, and look at the sodium. If it has salt in it, it's gonna load you up with sodium. So, but a general rule is, if it's just sea salt, then it likely won't.
Right.
Likely won't.
And I think that's pretty much all that we have time for today. But definitely rewatch this episode. In the next fuel episode, we're gonna for sure. Let me close out. In the next fuel episode, we are going to also cover something called the perfect palm method. It's just the method of using your palm to measure portion sizes that you'll have in a complete meal, and that's a part of the shopping process, because the more that you buy in the store of these different things, whether it's fats, whether it's veggies, whether it's protein or carbohydrates, these things you'll know to buy more of this, less of this, more of this, less of this, when you are adept at using the perfect palm method to know how much of your plate you want to be filled up with this, and that. But thank you all so very, very much for tuning into today's episode. It's been super jam-packed with information, so make sure you try and implement as much as you can from what you learned today in the grocery store. We have a lot more to cover in the grocery store.
like
And
saving on a budget, bulk shopping, and all those things.
absolutely, absolutely, and we'll get into that in later episodes. It has been again, subscribe, like, comment, share,
Put your questions
notifications.
down below.
Put your questions down below. We would be happy to answer them, and we're gonna respect your time and go ahead and get out of here. Y'all have a great rest of your day.
Take good care, loves.